Let's hear international experience from two dynamic speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, first, let's hear from Mr. Lino Ahlering, MD, Daraz Nepal Alibaba Group. Mr. Ahlering is the managing director of Daraz Nepal, Nepal's largest and most innovative e-commerce marketplace. He is a leader with a team of 700 plus extremely driven Darazians. He puts utmost focus on empowering the sellers who form the backbone of Daraz marketplace. Let's welcome him on the stage with a huge round of applause.
Namaste, everyone. Sorry, I just have to put this a bit high. Yeah, first of all, I don't get an intro like this very often, so very, very happy about this. And it also is a great pleasure to be here as the managing director of Daraz Nepal. I think you just already gave an intro. So what is Daraz? Daraz is the biggest online shopping marketplace in Nepal. But we're not only active in Nepal, we're also active eventually in Pakistan, in Bangladesh. That's where I was initially based, in Sri Lanka and also in Myanmar. So you already said it, we have currently about 700 people on the payroll. All of them are from Nepal. And usually in a month like now, so November is always traditionally our biggest month, we actually have about 2,000 people on the payroll within this month. So e-commerce has arrived in Nepal, I think there's no doubt about it. And again, it's a huge pleasure to be here eventually because I truly believe that startups can change the world. I think I've seen it from my home country in Germany, where Berlin is probably one of the most vibrant startup capitals in the entire world. And we really see that disruption and really achieving change is often facilitated by startups, right? Because they have more flexibility, they often have that willingness and that courage to do bold moves, but they obviously need supporters who enable them to do these bold moves. So now, Daraz is obviously not a startup anymore, but also we as a company, we had humble beginnings, right? We started here in about 2014 as a very, very small company, pretty much from scratch, with a very local team, but with some foreign investment driven by a company called Rocket Internet from Germany, for which I also used to work. So in the days, it was really about establishing first e-commerce and kind of also telling what this business model is all about and really kind of creating the foundations. And then pretty much in 2018, Daraz got sold to Alibaba. And that pretty much was also the change when we made the transition from being a startup to actually being a corporate, but still with a startup character, where we're trying to really preserve the flexibility in our team. Right now, our team is very, very young, about 27 years on average, and that also, again, really shows that we have a lot of drive and a lot of young people who really want to change something, and we also want to kind of build the next generation of entrepreneurs. I always love when my team members even leave Daraz and they start their own venture, because I believe this is what it's all about. Because Daraz is not just a company builder, but it's actually an ecosystem builder. And it's not our sales on the platform, but it's eventually our sellers on the platform. We have 12,000 sellers on the platform right now, and pretty much we see them thriving and we see them growing, and I think we saw a lot of retail companies also being here. A lot of them could also potentially sell on Daraz. For example, we just conducted our most successful campaign, 11/11, which is always the highlight. And our sellers, and this is really not our sales, but our sellers did 36 crore Nepali rupees in 24 hours. And that shows that e-commerce is huge. And that also shows that, again, it's about the ecosystem growing together. So we're going to put a big, big focus over the next months to also bring more businesses online. But it's not only about the sellers. And I was very happy that Upaya, for example, was here, because we're already working with Upaya together. Because I always say, if I would start a company in Nepal, I would start a logistics company. Because there's incredible potential in this market. And the market is really, really big. And Upaya is doing a fantastic job, even though for being just here for very, very few years. But I really have a lot of confidence that they will do really strong. And also we see close collaboration with us. And I think this is what it's all about, that every company around the platform is going to grow with us. And this means the sellers, this means the logistics companies, this means marketing agencies. We also saw that, right? So pretty much all the startups that you saw here have a potential to work together with a platform like Daraz. And I think that's the biggest fun part for me, that it's not just about Daraz growing, but it's about the ecosystem growing. But now the big question, why has the startup scene not picked up? And I know I'm putting probably a bold statement out here, but I've been living in Karachi in Pakistan, for example. I've been living in Dhaka, and And we have to acknowledge that in countries like there, and obviously India as well, the startup scene is already on a different level, which doesn't mean is that it's too late, right? But why has it not fully picked up in that way? We have a lot of good reference cases. I think companies like F1Soft, Isewa, but in the payment scene, we see a lot of interesting companies now also on the logistics side. I think there's a lot of interesting reference cases, but I genuinely believe that there needs to happen two things in this country. The first one is the complications with the FDI. I think even we as a big company don't always have it easy to invest into the country, but we have a lot of faith and confidence into the Nepal ecosystem, and that's why we're really committed to really make it work, and we believe in Nepal, and we're here for the long term. So I think easier FDI regulations that also create more incentives for investors to invest into Nepal, I think is incredibly crucial. And I think this is also where a company like Daraz can become a reference case or can give investors confidence that this is a good environment to invest. And I would always encourage everyone to invest in Nepal because we see so many smart entrepreneurs here in Nepal that really have amazing ideas. The market is there, but the investment is missing. And I think the investment has to come from, to a great extent, from outside. And I think that brings me also to my second point. We need, on the local level, more bold investors. And I think the problem is often that many companies or many investors want to see immediate return. And I think this is when it comes to companies like e-commerce, when it comes to payments, this is a long-term game. You cannot expect profits from day one. And we do see now venture capital funds starting to flourish more, and I think that's also really, really encouraging. In the 3 years that I've been living in Nepal, I've seen incredible change. And I'm super optimistic about Nepal because I see my team, and that gives me that optimism that Nepal has a bright future because they all have so much confidence in this country and they have so much talent. But we need to have more investors, and we need to have more local investors who also have that willingness and that to do bold moves, to do an investment and not expect a return immediately, but to expect also return over time. Because a lot of industries, like I said, only will flourish with a long-term vision. And then in addition, the other one is FDI. How can we, together with international institutions, maybe the World Bank, for example, but also together with the ministries, with the UN, with other incredible institutions, or also with certain venture capital funds who are the first movers here, how can we brand Nepal to the outside world so that more investors are coming here, and then how is this facilitated and supported by the political system? And I think if we crack this, and I'm very confident that we crack it because we also do see it already being mentioned in the budget that was recently released. Now, obviously, we're talking about ideas. I think now it's important that we see executions, right? That we really do this together, and that, again, Nepal is going to grow. So I'm extremely optimistic. Otherwise, I think I wouldn't be here for so long. Alibaba and also Daraz are here to stay. And I think the great thing is that we need more events like this where people can speak up, where people can show their ideas, where investors and target companies can come together, but also have a stakeholder discussion with, for example, the authorities, with the politics. And I think if we do this and we really try to facilitate, and I think also Daraz, we have also a responsibility to sometimes kind of try to set up these discussions, and we will do that, then I think Nepal really has a bright future ahead. So thank you so much again for having me here. Just say a few words. I'm again very happy to be here. It was very exciting also to hear some of the ventures and also to always see that, okay, either we're already working with them or they can potentially work with us and they can grow with us together. So thank you so much, and I wish you a nice event.